Do you support black-only dormitories?
Sure.
You do? Okay. That's resegregation. You realize that?
No, I think if black people want to do that, we should allow them to because they have to face a...
Well, then would you support white-only dormitories?
No.
Why?
Because pretty much the school is white only. Pretty much every dormitory is white only.
Looking around, I'd say it's a more diverse campus than just being a white-only campus.
If black people want... Yeah.
So you believe in black-only graduation ceremonies at Harvard?
If they want that, sure.
So
why do I care? Why does it bug me?
Well, it should bug you that we're resegregating parts of the population.
There's a difference.
That people march in this. What's the difference?
If white people say that black people have to be separate.
What's the difference of skin color? What's the difference between a white person and a black person?
I was trying to tell you.
Tell me what the difference between a white person and a black person.
No, I'm not.
There's no difference. They're both human beings. They're only one race, the human race.
They're treated differently.
How are they treated differently? Give me one piece of evidence. What can a black person not do in America that I can do?
They get treated differently by the police, and I've seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though the data shows that a black person...
Data can be used to lie.
So facts don't matter, essentially. I care about all people, and I don't look at people based on race, like you do.
So you're post-racial?
Absolutely.
Because it does.
You're not. You're the one that wants black-only graduation ceremonies and black-only dormitories.
That's not what I said.
You're okay with it. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah,
You have yet to give me any evidence or data or one piece of example.
Do you believe that there are any racial problems?
Individually, absolutely. Are there individually committed people that are racist? 100%. At what point does someone stop being a racist in your mind?
I haven't thought about it.
You haven't thought, but yet you're quick to label, but you're not quick to retract or have a line in your head. That's pretty dangerous, isn't it?
Maybe when they die.
When they die. That's pretty sinister. Do you think I'm a racist?
Yeah. Are you a racist?
No, hold on a second. He thinks I'm a racist. Why would you say I'm a racist?
Just the stuff you're saying.
Name one thing I've said that's ever racist.
Whatever, I'm not going to play that game with you.
But this is what's so wrong with our country, is he's quick to call me a racist with no evidence, no data.
The fact that you don't believe in white privilege.
I don't believe in white privilege because I believe in data, facts, and logic.
The ones that fit your point of view, but when I give you a fact...
You haven't given me any facts whatsoever.
Thank you for coming here to Wokeland. Appreciate it. Great to see you. I'm an immigrant from Eastern Europe, and I've been here for 10 years and a little bit. And if anybody would have told me 10 years ago that I would come a day where I would live in America and American citizens would be in favor of communism, I would have laughed in their face. So obviously I have my own opinion about why this is happening, but what is your take? Why do you think US citizens, man, are in favor of communism in America? It feels that it's getting more and more.
What country are you from?
Romania.
Romania. So I'm curious, what would your message be to young socialists that don't know what communism is?
If you don't learn from history, nothing will save you.
And let me ask you, your family grew up in Romania and had to go through all those horrors.
Yeah.
And most people are totally unfamiliar with the actual suffering, the actual difficulty, the actual issues that people had because of communism. And it's very interesting that Americans that have never had to wait in bread lines until now, that have never had to actually understand what suffering is, they are very quick to try to shut down and shout down opinions they disagree with. But I want to actually ask you, I want you to just say very briefly, what was it like for your family to grow up in these sort of ideas? Why do you hate communism? Why? Because of the suffering that your family went through?
So obviously, I was only 1 year old when communism ended in Romania, so I can't really speak from previous experience, but I have yet to meet anybody in my home country that was in favor of communism. So let me put it this way. When they came in power, they seized all private property. And after that, you had punch card guys to get bread.
Yes.
And you would be rationed based on the size of your family. No meat, no eggs, no stuff like that. And like I said, nobody's in favor of it, except...
So let me ask you a question. Are you thankful that you live in America?
Yeah.
That's what 100%. Makes you different than them.
Hi. I'm hoping that you could explain, without using a single buzzword or a conservative talking point, what CRT is.
So you want to go back to Herbert Marcuse, the Frankfurt School, Michel Foucault, Jacques Derrida,
I want you to answer
man?
my question.
No, I'm just asking you, how far back do you want me to go?
I want you to explain what CRT is.
What CRT is comes out of critical theory, which came out of the Frankfurt School, which is a belief that there are systems that exist both institutionally and systemically, and that through critical theory, which also has critical law theory, through the kind of the changing of how we view society must be through a racial lens and not through an economic lens or through a legal lens, And if you look very clearly at the writings of Marcuse, at the writings of Spinoza, especially in the early 1990s where this started to pop up, there was this idea that we must give preference based on the melanin content of people's skin, not on actions, not on choices, and instead, because America is so unequal, because it is so inequitable, that these writers and authors that were the beginning people that actually started this term critical race theory 50 or 60 years ago believed that this would be a true Marxist type movement that would help happen in this country. It was kind of fostered and started in many different universities across this country. Marcuse came from the Frankfurt School, and it really kind of comes back to the couple beliefs that CRT believes in, to make it overly simple. Number one, that there is no such thing as absolute truth. That number two, power dynamics are more important than anything else. Number three, skin color should be something that has a top priority in how we characterize people and their worth and their dignity. Number four, that kind of American history and kind of how we teach it is completely wrong. Five, that America is systemically racist, and I could continue from that. That right there is a 35,000-foot view. Happy to go deeper, but that is the history of critical race theory, and it's evolved into terms of wokeism, diversity, equity, inclusion, the idea of America being systemically racist, 1619 Project. They're all outgrowths of the postmodern deconstructionist type viewpoint that started in the 1960s from Marcuse, who was a Marxist type believer in the Frankfurt School, was expelled, found domicile here in America, and implemented in our colleges. How'd I do?
I do appreciate that response. Thank you. You did use the word wokeism, which is a conservative buzzword, unfortunately. I'm going to take my seat. Thank you.
How about this? How about this? Garbage.
My name is Grace. I'm 13, and I've been homeschooled since kindergarten. I really appreciate your podcast. Politics can be difficult for me to fully understand, but the way in which you present ideas makes it easier to. My younger sister and I recently started watching the online Hillsdale College course regarding the Constitution, which we've been enjoying. So this is my question to you. What advice do you have for me as I move into adulthood in order to become a more informed and involved citizen?
Well, first of all, thank you for being here, and I have hope thanks to people like you. How old are you again?
13.
13. So here's a couple things I want to encourage you to do. Learn something new every single day, and focus on what it means to be a good person and a person of strong character, and especially when you get into the world of trying to be around social approval and kind of everything around you. Courage is what's missing in our country. We have a courage crisis right now. Moral courage is the most necessary yet absent characteristic in men, George S. Patton. Aristotle, who you will learn about if you continue on the wonderful Hillsdale courses, and I'm glad you're already taking it, so you're already well on your way. Aristotle said that courage is the ultimate virtue. Without it, there are no other virtues. Think about that. If people aren't courageous, you don't have honesty. You don't have justice. You don't have anything else you don't have beauty. You don't have wonder. If people don't have courage to act. And so at age 13, I want you to commit yourself to a life of courage. Courage is doing the right thing when you don't know how it's going to work out. Courage is committing yourself to the correct course of action, regardless of the cost associated to it. And I'm given hope by the amount of young homeschooling children that are rising up in our country. Now, let me tell you this. People say, Charlie, what does success look like? New York Times headline in 2050. America's sudden, shocking, and inexplicable right turn can be traced back to homeschooling explosion during COVID-19. That's what success looks like, everybody.
You know, if you're advocating for pure capitalism,
More of a capitalist society, most absolutely.
Sure. One of the things you need to talk about is education, right?
Let's talk about it.
Education, it's a huge amount of taxes, huge amount of spending per student across the country. You know, we're looking at tens of thousands per year. Now, in a communist society, capitalist society, let's say there are none of these taxes. You expect each parent to have these hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay for the education of each of their children, just for schools leading up to college.
So let me ask you a question. What funds local schools?
Property taxes, federal taxes, and a load of other taxes.
So what's the predominant funder of local schools?
The most important one's going to be property taxes.
Property tax. Have I ever advocated for the abolition of property taxes?
You're talking about getting rid of a socialist institution, and
Correct.
the biggest socialist
property tax
institution,
is anything but a socialist institution. It's an ownership tax. If you don't want to pay property tax, don't buy the property.
It's large contributions of everyone to take care of everyone in the way that you accept it.
If you don't want to live in the neighborhood, live somewhere else. You can live somewhere with next to no property tax.
There's no education system in the United States in which you can not get an education by living there.
That's correct. Yes.
That is a
But if
socialist
you want to pay next to
institution.
no, okay, it's not. So what's your argument? That I'm somehow like against taxes, or
no?
'cause
I am asking, in a world without the taxes that you're talking
I want
about.
to understand the question precisely.
In this world where you have limited to no taxes, the
Okay.
capitalist model, which is that.
So let me make it perfectly clear. I would love to abolish the federal income tax. Probably not going to happen. So we can go to a 10%. Everyone pays 10%. That's plenty of money to fund essential government services. Now, let's talk about funding of schools. I've never not once said get rid of property tax. There's more than enough money in the property tax system, in the state tax system, and in the other ways that we fund education, such as the lottery and other government revenue services, to effectively fund public schools if you're able to fire bad teachers and fight public sector teacher unions, if you're able to do that.
I was speaking with some people who are kind of against you coming here today, and they say that you come here, you're media trained, you've memorized all these talking points, and I just kind of wanted to question, like, are you truthfully like here to try to change people's minds, or is there kind of a benefit to keeping people divided? Like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, do you think it's better for the country to be divided ideologically, or is it like preventing a more progressive debate?
Well, I guess, how am I dividing people if I ask you if you disagree, you come to the mic? How is that divisive?
Well, no, I'm just saying it's like you have these like clickbaity titles. It says like prove me wrong. Your critics are saying that you're trying to keep people divided. They're urging people not to come talk to you because you're going to spin it. What would you like to say to like your critics?
They're welcome to come to the microphone and say whatever they want to me, but they're intellectual cowards and they won't do that.
You
know how we heal our divides? By talking to people we disagree with.
I would agree with that.
We will get closer to a civil war if we act like that. We just yell at people we don't like. You dress with, I guess I'm all black, but, with masks on and just with stupid epitaphs. Okay, like that's how you get closer to dividing the country. You heal the country when you allow disagreement and you allow a microphone with people that have differing views.
But I think when you come out and you say like civil war and you use these like fear-mongering words, I feel like you're definitely trying to like get people like riled up, and that helps.
I mean, it's 100% factual. We're close to a civil war in this country, and I don't want that to happen. And people that act like that are going to further radicalize both sides, and you de-radicalize a population through speech.
I would say that conversation and media and like spreading the word definitely like that's like how you bridge the gap. But like when you're talking about the immigration debate, you said if you were here illegally, then you should get deported. I feel like that is stopping.
That's a very moderate view, by the way.
I feel like that's stopping like a more progressive debate on how we could help solve the immigration crisis. And
you solve it by deporting the criminals, aka every single one that broke our laws to come here. That's a very moderate position.
But I'm just saying, like, there's like ideas out there that America's this free land, and if you come here, you make it rich. Like, there's a false narrative that's like going out, that's like causing people to come here illegally, and like they try to cross the Rio Grande, and they unfortunately, like, a lot of times, like, if Border Patrol can't save them, then it stops them. So I think there's a more progressive conversation.
I'm sure there's a more progressive way to look at it. Yeah.
No, but
I'm not here to be progressive.
Okay. Well.